Okay, so quick rundown of what Theseus' ship is. Okay, so from what I understand, there's this guy named Theseus who rode this ship. And, okay, it's docked, whatever. After a while, the ship will start to degrade. And over time, each piece will get, replaced as time goes on. And this goes over the course of, like, thousands of years. Or, like, okay, maybe not thousands, like, 1,000 years. And, at the end, like, at the end of the 1,000 years, when every single piece of the ship has been replaced, the question is that still the original ship that Theseus rode? Or, like, yeah, rode. And I'm gonna add something else in later, but so I wanted to talk about this because when I was, in class thinking about this, I was like, dude, what do I even think? Because there's no way I'm gonna say this out loud, right? I'm not gonna say my opinion in real life in front of like 50 plus people. So I'm thinking, like, do I believe that this is the same ship? So I'm gonna call the original ship, like the one that Theseus rode, Ship A. So that's gonna be A. And Ship B is a ship that's 1,000 years later, like, still in the same, not condition, but in the same shape that it was in, just with entirely new, like, boards, new sails, new poles. Like, nothing on there is the same as the original, but it still has the same shape as the original. And I thought, well, yeah, I think that, actually, scratch that. I need to explain more. So, okay, so there's that. Think about that, right? Is Ship B original? Like the same thing to Ship A? Like, are they the same thing? So think about that. But then we add this other factor in where, okay, I'm gonna call it Ship C, where they grabbed all the broken pieces of Ship A and then rebuilt it. And then rebuilt it like a replica using the exact like debris of the ship that was broken off to do a replica of Ship A. So that's Ship C. So now what you're thinking is, like, now we have two ships. We have Ship B, which was originally Ship A that transformed into Ship B over time. And then we have Ship C that grabbed the debris from Ship A to create a totally different ship. No, it's the same ship, same shape and everything. I just mean, like, separate from Ship B. Which ship is the original ship? And so I was thinking about this, and I was like, dude. Well, obviously, okay, this is a philosophical question, so there's no, like, right or wrong answer. And I don't think there even is an answer. Like, it's just up to your interpretation, like, up to your, like, perspective on how you feel about this. And so I wrote down that, so we have Ship A, Ship B, and Ship C. So I put down the assumptions here that are, okay, so we have two assumptions in our, like, human mind, right? Ordinary objects can survive gradual change. So that means, let's say you have a piece of metal and the metal rusts. It's still your piece of metal. Well, not your piece, it's still a piece of metal. And this goes for, like, anything. So just things that degrade over time, like Ship A to Ship B, in your opinion, maybe. Because, okay, I don't even know, because, like, when I say things, it's gonna sound biased because I already have, like, a conclusion in my head. So when I talk and explain things, it's gonna sound like that conclusion is the right one because that's how I feel. But obviously, there is no correct thing. But I'm gonna get into my opinion in a second, but I have to, like, explain everything, I feel like. So, the assumption is that ordinary objects survive gradual change. So when an object can degrade over time, when pieces are replaced from it, it is still the same object, right? And I mean, like, if you build a Lego set and you take it apart for some reason after you built it, you build it up again, then realize, oh, I lost one piece. It's still the same Lego set. Like, it's not a new or different Lego set. And then, so the second assumption is objects go where parts go. So that's like, if I take apart a desk and I move the desk out of a room to another room, and then I rebuild the desk, it's still the same desk. Okay, so you might see the connection here where I'm going to, because if you believe that ship B is the original ship A, then objects can survive gradual change. Even though at the very end of like the ship's life, or not the ship's life, but the ship's very last old piece of wood finally falls off, rots away. It becomes it's still the same ship. So when is it that the ship will start to become ship B, or does it ever? If that makes sense. But so I think there are 4, maybe 5 possible solutions to this, and all of them have their own like reasoning, and I think they're all pretty valid. So if we deny the assumption that objects can go where their parts go, this means that no, ship A is not ship C, which, if you remember, ship C is ship A's debris that got rebuilt into a totally separate ship, like somewhere else. So obviously, like, oh, if the objects go where their parts go, so all of the ship's debris is rebuilt into this new ship, on the somewhere else, away from ship B. It's not a I mean, it is the exact ship. Personally, okay, I can't get into my biases yet. Second solution. So that was solution 1. So second solution. Solution 2 is to deny assumption 1, which assumption 1 was ordinary objects survive gradual change. So that means, like, oh, I don't think that ordinary objects survive gradual change. So like I said, with the piece of metal, once I have this piece of metal and it starts to rust, it is a completely new piece of metal. It's not my old piece of metal is gone. And this is a completely new object to me, which obviously doesn't make sense, unless maybe it makes sense to you. But, and this can go for like anything. I think a better example, like, I guess not more modern, but whatever. If my phone dies, right, and I charge my phone and it comes back to life, the mindset here is that this phone is not the same one as the one that died, even though obviously they're the same thing. So I think that assumption is pretty, I mean, that solution for the assumption is pretty nonsensical to me. Maybe there is another hypothetical where, like, I guess maybe people? No, I don't even know, actually. I don't even have like an example for how this would make sense, because to me, an object is still an object, even if it looks a little bit different. So, and then, okay, wait, my assumption, hello? Okay, so there's another one that, oh, okay, so I want to go back to assumption 1 that says some objects just don't survive gradual change. So in the ship like example here, it's like saying, oh, if a piece of debris falls off of this ship, it's a completely new ship. Or if a piece of debris falls off of this ship and rebuild it with a totally different piece of wood, it's a different ship than the original ship. So in over the 1,000 years that all of this ship goes through changes, like it gets replaced with its pieces of wood, or the sails get fixed, whatever. But every single time there's a new and different change, it is a completely new item. So that's why I think that denying assumption 1, that ordinary objects survive gradual change, just doesn't make sense. It's like, over the course of 1,000 years, you basically have 1,000 ships plus the new one that you built from the debris. So you have like 1,001 ships. But obviously you only have 3. So that's pretty like a nonsensical conclusion here. If we deny assumption 1 instead, objects never survive gradual change, which is what I said before. Okay, so I wrote the same thing twice. Sorry. And so the third solution. Okay, so I want to say that, like, I did not look things up beforehand. Not because of, like, ignorance. Like, I'm not gonna be like, oh, I know what I'm talking about, because I might be getting this stuff wrong. I just don't want to, like, read up on something and then have my, like, opinion changed or biased. I just want to, like, come out with my own, like, thoughts initially, right? So I'm back to the third assumption, which that both ship B and ship C are ship A. So this means that they are both Theseus's ship, right? Because, one is a replica using the debris of the broken down ship, and the other one was the ship that gradually got replaced with new items until it was a completely new ship. But I think it's kind of important to understand that obviously a ship is not made up of just one thing. There's the sails, there's the wood, there's the probably metal in there somewhere. I don't know how a ship works. So the individual components don't make the ship a ship. Okay, that sounds really weird. So if I just grab a sail and I grab a piece of wood and I just put them like next to each other, it's not a ship. Building, you have to actually like build the ship to make it look like a ship. And so an object on its own can't be something, because I feel like that hypothetical will kind of change the mindset of what's going on. So if I had like a piece of paper, no, that's not a good example. I think like a singular object. Okay, wait. Okay, so I had a container, right? And I had a top, I had the cap, and I had the obviously the thing that you store it inside. So the things inside, and so if I take the cap off and the circular thing, maybe it's a circle, I don't know. I don't even know, like a container, a Tupperware. And I put the Tupperware on one side, container on the other one. It's not really a container anymore, because it's not really like keeping the component, the object that you have inside of there. It's just kind of like free, kind of. Like, pretend there's a bug in there, or like something that moves around. If I take off the lid, the bug is gonna fly away, right? The container's not doing the container's job. So having these two components like together don't make it a container. Having the thing that puts it on top to cover the bug from flying out is what makes it a container. So in the ship's like perspective, if I just have all the ingredients to make a ship, that doesn't mean it's a ship yet, is what I'm trying to say. You have to build the ship in order for it to be a ship, or like to be functional as a ship. Or like you have to build anything in order for it to be functional as a thing. Okay, I found a totally different example. Legos. If you build a Lego set, or if you just have the Lego pieces just scattered all around, and then that's it. It's not the Lego set yet. You have to build it in order for it to be the Lego set. like the shape of whatever Lego you have. So it's the same way for the ship. I keep coming back to that because that's what I'm talking about. It's the same way for the ship because this ship, for the original conclusion that ship A is ship B. Ship A is ship B, like they're the same ship. Even though the ship B, ship A has gone through so many renovations that it doesn't have any of the same, pieces, but it's still in the general shape of the ship, right? Because gradually over time, things get replaced, things happen, right? And so I'm also thinking, someone brought this up in class, I forgot, but she was like, okay, so if you have a model airplane, and you take apart the model airplane, and you put it back together, it's still a model airplane, right? Yeah. So I asked her, I was like, hey dude, I didn't say hey dude, but I just said hey. And I was like, okay, think about this. If you take apart the model airplane that you had built, right? And you put it back together, you realize one piece is missing. It's not a different plane, right? It's still the same thing, there's just a piece missing. So what you do is you go buy the piece that you're missing. But what if every single time you take it apart and put it back together, it's still this, and every time you take it apart, put it back together, you lose a piece, and you have to go replace and buy a piece. So eventually, let's just say you keep losing different pieces, and gradually over time you take apart and rebuild this model plane for whatever reason, and eventually you have lost the very original piece that you got with the original set, and you have to go replace it. Do you think it's still the same model airplane? I think yes. And in the ship, I also think yes. So I think that yes, both of the ships, both ship A and ship B and ship C, are Theseus' ship. And okay, and I didn't know that this opinion was like, no one liked this, like no one agreed. And so I kind of want to explain like why I think this way. So okay, so go back to the model airplane. And what if you find you built a new ship, you built a new airplane from all the new pieces that you had to replace because you lost the other pieces. But what if all of a sudden you found all of the old pieces that you had, and then you rebuild the airplane again, so you have two airplanes now, right? So which one's the original? Is it the one that you constantly replaced, or is it the one that has all the original parts? And I kind of want to say this because, in the sense of Theseus' ship, I think that both ship B and ship C are Theseus' ship. I'm thinking of, you know how when they build replicas of historical monuments and like maybe relocate them? Like, for example, Sutter's Mill. You know, the guy who started the gold rush, John Sutter. They had, I think, a model of well, obviously they had the original sawmill, right? And then they had the rebuild the sawmill. But then they took the sawmill apart again and then rebuilt it somewhere else so it could be a historical monument, right? And it still used the same blueprints, so it's still like the same exact shape as the original sawmill. Like, is that so? So obviously they didn't use the same parts as the original sawmill because those are gone. So they rebuilt it like 2 or 3 times, and so I'm thinking like, back to the ships. Yeah, I think that they're both the ship. And oh yeah, I was saying, okay, so this was a super like hot topic in class, and like people did not agree with this. They hated this idea. And I was like, dude, why do you guys hate this idea? Because it's either, for these people, not saying for these people, but for the people in my class, they were all like, either, oh, ship B is the original ship, ship C is the original ship, and some of them were like, oh, none of them are. And I don't agree with that. I don't agree that none of them are the ship. So the reason I think that ship B is the same as ship A is because over time, yes, every single thing is brand new, but it still had the original state of the ship in mind, right? They replaced small little pieces until the whole thing was until the whole thing was brand new. But it still had this is the ship that Theseus walked on, right? And the reason I think ship C is also ship A is because, all the original debris were preserved and then rebuilt into, the same ship. But the other thing is that obviously, despite all the new pieces, all the old pieces that were like refurbished into this new piece, I don't even think it matters because it's not even in the same location that the original one was in. The original is still ship B, but like if you're thinking historically, it would be ship C. But then someone brought up, okay, this kind of doesn't make any sense to me, but I guess I should bring it up. That someone was like, are we thinking of like the soul and the identity of the ship? And I think that it's kind of unfair to, I guess it's not unfair, it just doesn't make sense to humanize an object, right? Obviously, the ship itself doesn't have any thoughts, it doesn't have an identity, it doesn't have a soul. And a lot of people in that class were, I guess, they were trying to compare it to people, where are you the same person you were when you were a baby? Like, you were born, right? Are you the same person you were when you grew up? Like, when you're a baby, you didn't experience, like, anything, you were just born, right? And then, like, think of yourself now, you've experienced, like, way more. Are you the same person? And a lot of people are like, oh, yeah, you are the same person because that's how you were born, right? And that's like, in your soul, you are still the same, like, person that was born all those times ago. And I think it's kind of unfair to, like, compare the ship to people, because obviously people are, like, completely different, like, dynamic people. There's no way to generalize the uniqueness of every single person, because they're all different, right? And it's kind of unfair to assume that the ship itself has a soul or an identity, because, okay, let's say if the ship did have a soul, then did it die? And then if you die, where's your soul go, right? I'm not gonna get into that yet. Well, I'm not gonna get into that now. So it's just not a good assumption to be like, oh yeah, well, the ship's identity, the ship's soul, the ship's, like, personality, because it doesn't have one. It's an object that we made. Like, so I think it's a fair assumption to be like, yeah, okay, if I wanted to go see the ship, right, where would I go? Would I go to the historical place where it was like, yeah, this is Theseus' ship, we just, like, it kind of fell apart, but, like, over time, and, like, we fixed it? Or would I go to a totally different, like, dock, where it's like, oh, we built a ship from Theseus' old parts? Like, I don't even care about that, dude. Like, if someone was like, yeah, let's go see this ship that was rebuilt, not even in the same spot, as the original ship, using the same parts as the original ship, let's go see that. I was like, dude, I don't want to see that. I want to see the ship that was standing there. Or I guess floating there in the water, which was ship B. But a lot of people... So it was a really, like, just a debate, I guess, is what I'm trying to say. And I think that we have this thing where we want to compare everything to, like, the human experience, which is fine, obviously. We like to think about ourselves. But in not the sense in the case of having this like ship that doesn't have a personality, doesn't have feelings, doesn't have a soul. It just doesn't make any sense. I don't think that you should push your feelings into this. It's not that serious, I fear. But then this other girl, she was like, "What about the four-dimensional metaphysics of?" Okay, for one, are you real? And for two, again, we should not be comparing like the fourth dimension, and because like obviously the things that we make aren't four-dimensional. We can say them so they're 3D, right? So I don't even think that anything that wait. Okay, so I don't even think that anything that we see is in the fourth dimension. Because what even is that? Because we can't even see that. So anything we do here in the third dimension, right? I'm not saying like actual dimensions. I mean like the world that we live in, the way like our eyes perceive the world is three-dimensional, right? And then the faces of the cube. Okay, well, okay. So if we get a cube, you know that the cube has what, six sides? Yeah, it has 6 sides. And you can't see. Oh, okay. You can't see all 6 sides at the same time. That's what the fourth dimension is. Okay, so in the fourth dimension, you should be able to see all 6 sides at the same time. Where you're like, well, I can see 6 sides. You can't see 6 sides. You see one side at a certain angle. Let's just say at a certain angle, at a fixed angle. You see one side, and then you're able to infer in your mind, hey, there's 5 more sides that I can't see, but it makes sense to me, like a Rubik's cube. Like I know that if I'm facing the yellow side, there's a blue side on the other side, green side. You know? I forgot all the colors on the Rubik's cube. I don't even know. But I guess the Rubik's cube colors vary, obviously. But like not even all Rubik's cube have colors. Some of them have like images, which is pretty cool. But okay, so in the fourth dimension, I guess you'll be able to see this ship. You'll be able to see the ship, but you'd be able to see the ship in the like you see the entire ship at the same time. Whereas if you're in the third dimension like we are now, you'll see one side of the ship and then infer in your head, hey, yeah, I know that this ship isn't just like flat image on one side. Like I know this ship is like round or whatever. So I don't know why. Okay, I don't even want to hate, dude. I'm not even hating. I'm just saying my opinion. I think that's fine. I don't even know why she brought up the fourth dimension. Because obviously everything that exists in the third dimension exists even more in the fourth dimension, right? I don't even know. I guess I'm not gonna get into that because I don't even know. But I think what she was getting at is that if we were not people, or if we were like a higher power, let's just say we were like the Sims spectating this world, and this world happened to have that ship. How do we feel about that ship? Okay, so for one, okay, I also want to bring into something else actually. If this ship didn't gradually degrade over years and years, like thousands of years, like hundreds, thousands of years, then it's a totally different thing than to be like, yeah, and then Theseus rebuilt his ship like 30 times. Then it's still his ship because obviously he rebuilt it. But these are all different people rebuilding the same ship, right? So I guess you can also argue that neither of them are the ship. You can never have the original back. You can never go back and be like, yeah, let's preserve this ship, because then you'd have to argue with the fact that, hey, even if the ship is falling apart, okay, yeah, because even if the ship is falling apart and there's one piece left, is this still Theseus' ship? No, it's just a piece of trash. But it kind of sucks. But it's just a piece of trash. Nobody fixed it, right? It's just a part of Theseus' ship that is no longer. So, I guess I like the negative Nancy perspective, is that none of them are the ship. Right, because I guess, yeah, you just have to think really negatively to think that, like, oh, you can't have the original back ever. And I guess that's true. I mean, you can never have the original back of something, especially after you've had it. Like, it's been worn. Like, you know, if you have a pair of jeans and there's a hole in them. Now, it's still your pair of jeans, but it's not the original pair of jeans that you had, right? I don't really like thinking that way. Like, I think, like, with the ship, like, if I had a hole in my jeans, they're still my jeans. They're not like, oh, dang, dude, I wish I could go back. Well, like, I totally do. Like, if I accidentally put a hole in my jeans, and I was like, dude, I wish I didn't put this hole in my jeans. I can fix the hole, but it'll never be the untainted, like, original, no hole, no stitches jeans again. And I guess you can be kind of sad about that. And also, again, because that girl was trying to bring this to human beings. If something happens to you, right, and you are like you're like, oh my god, dude, this really sucks. I'm like really upset. Are people still gonna see you as the same person you were before? Right? Like, so let's just say I watched like someone die right in front of me, and now I'm like so paranoid that it's gonna happen to me. And I tell my friends like, dude, okay, so the day before I was like happy-go-lucky. I was like, hey guys, I'm literally feeling awesome today. Then I saw someone die the next day, and I talked to my friends. And I'm like, dude, I'm so scared that someone's gonna kill me. Like, I'm so scared that someone's gonna get me, dude. Am I still the same person I was before? Yeah. I just now have like a totally different opinion on like life, and now I'm worried that someone's gonna kill me. But it's kind of like saying, oh, you seeing your friends every single day, and they tell you new things about them. Like, okay, I talked to my friend today, and I'm like, hey, dude, I need to walk my dog. And then tomorrow, I walk my dog, and I tell my friend, like, dude, I just walked my dog. I'm not a different person. I'm the same person who has done a different thing, I guess. And it's like New Year's resolutions, kind of, where you're being the same person. You're either improving or I don't know what the opposite of improving is. De-escalating. That's probably not it. I don't know. But so it's a different thing to be like, oh, okay, well, I saw the ship today, and then and then the ship crashed, and it's broken. So now tomorrow, the ship is like a new ship. No, it's just the same ship, just broken. And it's unfair to try to. Well, I guess that's me rationalizing the thing that, oh, it's still the same thing after it's changed. I'm trying to think of another example that'll be like, yeah, after this thing happens to it, it's changed forever, and it's never gonna be the same. But I think that's just all in like perspective. Like, you have to have this mindset. I'm not saying like it's a bad mindset. I'm not saying it's a good one either. I'm just saying like you have to be in this mindset that this is how it is in order for it to be that way, because obviously we all experience life differently, right? We're never going to have the same opinion. Like, we might have the same opinion on something, but we're never going to experience life the same way as someone else, right? Like, even if I had like a clone, yeah, if I had like a clone of myself, right? And we did the exact same thing in our lives, I don't even think that person would be the same as me. Like, even the smallest reaction, the smallest, like, oh, instead of doing this, I'm gonna do this. And it could be like the smallest thing. It's like the butterfly effect. Like, I decide to say hi to someone or say something else. Like, if I decide to tell someone, hey, you're annoying, instead of just not saying anything at all, like, I feel like that's gonna change my life. Like, then, like, the mindset of myself being like, hey, this person's annoying, I can like speak my mind, say whatever I want. And then the other one of me who's just being quiet, I was like, oh, I gotta deal with these things that might annoy me, but that's just how it works. That's how life is. Life isn't always fair. I mean, and I feel like that, just like that small thing, will like shift my life in a certain direction. Like, I'd have to do something exactly the same as everyone else. But then here's the thing: if I and my clone are together, I assume we're together, and we're like outside doing stuff. And I'm like, dude, you gotta do exactly what I do, right? You have to do, if I'm doing something, you gotta do it too. And you gotta do it exactly the same way I'm doing it. Then this clone, if the clone was to listen to me, this clone would be like, dude, okay, so now I have to do everything this person's doing all the time, always. And so I'm living my life being normal, right? But then this clone is worrying about, am I doing this right thing? Am I copying this exact person the exact way? Am I doing it all right? And I feel like that's also going to change your mindset. Even if you copy them, you're still like in your head, I'm living like me original. I'm living life, just chill. And then the person might also be living life chill, but now they have this additional thing on top of them that like, hey, I have to copy this person. And I have to make sure I'm doing everything right. And I feel like that's just an extra mindset, an extra trait, I guess, to just have. You will never find someone just like you. There will never, ever be like an exact clone of you. And even if we duplicated ourselves, and you sat next to this person, you're like, hey, dude. And he was like, hey, dude. I don't even think that's the same person. It'd be kind of scary. And I feel like just in your head, you'd rationalize. You wouldn't, I don't even think, if in real life you got cloned and then your clone was like at your house, like, what do you even do? Like, I'd freak out. And I'd probably start crying. But I'm assuming, okay, so like other people that are social, they would probably maybe be like, oh my god, wait, now I have like a twin, which is awesome. But I don't think that after, like, okay, you clone yourself, right? And this person is a clone. As soon as they take their first breath, as soon as they blink, as soon as they just start to exist, they are immediately not you anymore. They might look like you, they might act like you, but as soon as they're their own selves, they are no longer you ever again. Like, no matter what you do, even if you have the same, even if you're thinking the same exact thoughts, there is no way that this person's going to be exactly like you. Because in your head, right, you're doing everything that you think is right. And even like the slightest, like, thing, like, oh, I'm gonna sleep on the other side of the bed this time. That your clone can sleep on the other side of the bed, but they're gonna be a little bit slower than you, maybe. They're gonna be like, oh, I'm gonna get on the side of the bed, but just give me like 5 more minutes. They will never ever do exactly what you do, and you will never do exactly what they do, like, ever again. I totally forgot what the point was, but I'm just thinking about that now. Like, excuse me, excuse me. There will never ever be someone else who is exactly like you, even if you clone yourself and you tell this clone to do exactly what you do. Because as soon as you tell that clone to do something, as soon as you tell that clone, hey, do exactly what I'm doing, um, do exactly what I'm doing, right? Um, that clone is gonna, if it listens to you, I'm assuming that you get along with your clone, right? I don't even think I would actually. I'd be so scared. I'd be like, dude, I don't even want this thing near me. But then that same thing is thinking that about me, right? Okay, and also you gotta realize, maybe this clone doesn't even know it's a clone. Maybe it's just like, hey, maybe you're the clone. Like in those movies, you know, like when people get cloned, and then the like friend has to find the original, but then all the clones think that they're the original. Like, you would never know, I guess, unless someone tells you. But even then, like, obviously these people are two totally different people now. Like, if I cloned myself in front of my friend, right? I told her, I was like, hey, dude, okay, I'm gonna tell this clone to do exactly what I want them, like, exactly what I do. But make sure that, you know, I'm the original, right? I'm gonna put this, like, tattoo, I'm gonna put this mark on my wrist, or I'm gonna put this necklace on, I'm gonna, like, do this thing with my hair to let you know that I'm the original, right? And I'm gonna clone myself, and I'll put a different mark on that one, so that you know that this person is the same person. I feel like if my friend was, like, a normal person, and I told them, like, hey, after today, you gotta kill this clone. You gotta kill him, but when you kill him, you're not gonna get arrested for it, because when they die, they're just gonna disappear. Like, because they're clones, right? They're just gonna, like, evaporate or something. Like, splash water and it'll evaporate. I feel like if it were me, and in my perspective, my friend was cloning himself, and he was telling me, like, hey, kill this clone after, dude. Like, after today, kill it, and you're not gonna get in trouble for killing this clone. Um, And then it's the time comes to where, okay, let's just say I agree to this. I would never, because I'd be so scared. I'd be like, dude, why are you doing this? But let's just say I did. And then it's time for me to kill this guy that looks like my friend, acts like my friend, like is a basic carbon copy of my friend. And I'm like, yeah, dude, I gotta kill you because you're a clone. He would be like, dude, I'm your friend. Do you remember? Like, I'd be sad. I wouldn't do it. And I think that if someone was gonna clone themselves, or like one of my friends was like, hey, dude, I'm gonna clone myself soon. And they asked that, and I'd be like, dude, do not do that. Even if you think it's a good idea, it's probably not. Because who knows? And even like this is even just assuming the possibility that this clone is gonna be like a good one. Like, what if it's evil? And then now all of a sudden you're getting arrested for killing, and even though you never killed, but your clone did, right? Like, dude, that's so scary to think about. Like, if I was a clone, and after today, I could disappear and just not exist anymore, and the person, my original person, would like have the consequences for my actions. I probably wouldn't do anything because I feel bad. But then nothing really matters. Like, it doesn't even matter if I do something bad and I disappear after. Then that person just has to deal with the consequences, and I don't even get to exist anymore. But I'd also be kind of scared. I'd be like, dude, after this, like after today, I get evaporated, dude. I die. Excuse me. Like, what am I supposed to do? I feel like I'd just be sad, actually. Because even if I know that I'm gonna still exist in this world, and I still exist, like, in this other person's body, I'm never gonna be myself again. Like, I'm gonna be nothing. I'm gonna be gone. And even if I get all the memories that I get, like... Okay, so if my clone, right? So I'm living basically 2 lives in one day. So if I go with my... If I'm the clone, right? And I start my day, and then my original self is like, hey, dude, I'm gonna go to school, you go to work. And then at the very end of the day, when my clone evaporates, or like when I evaporate, because I'm the clone, then I get the memories of work. Like, of my day at work. So I get 2 different lives, basically. And I have the memories back. And even if that's like a thing of comfort, I'm like, okay, well, after this, I'm not gonna be nothing. I'm still gonna be myself. I'm gonna be myself again. Just together. I'd still be scared of not existing anymore. Because that'd be kind of scary. Like, I'd be like... Does this make sense, even? Does this even make sense? Like... Hey guys. If I cloned myself, and then after this, you gotta kill my clone. Okay, I would actually never clone myself. If I said that I was gonna clone myself, that's probably the clone talking. Because that's crazy. I would never do that. But if I'm like living several, like 2 lives in one day, and then I realize that after this, I'm gonna like not exist anymore. Like, I'm gonna evaporate. Dude, I'd be so sad and also be really scared. And that's what I'm saying. What I was trying to get at is that even if you clone yourself, even if this ship is 2 different ships, it's still a ship unique within itself. Oh, okay. What I was getting at was that even though, like, I built this ship, right? Oh my god, wait, no. What I was getting at was, you cannot compare the human experience to objects. Because we as people will always have this, like, disconnect from objects, because, or even animals, even. Well, we are animals, but you know what I mean, like, animals that, like cats or dogs. Like, if you clone a cat or dog, I don't even think they know it's a clone, it'd just be another cat or dog, right? Like, if I clone my cat, and then I have 2 of the same cat, But then at the end of the day, I gotta. Okay, I don't know why the clone has to die after 1 day, but there's just this rule where yes, the clone has to die at some point in life, and you just have like 24 hours to be alive. So at the end of the day, I clone my cat, and I gotta kill the clone. But like, I know the difference between the cat and the clone, right? I put like a collar on one cat, and I didn't put the collar on the cat. And so at the end of the day, I'm like, dude, these are both my cats, but now they're not even the same cat anymore. They're two different cats that just look the same and act the same, and they're also born on the same day, and they were also like raised by me up until this very point where they got separated or cloned into two different cats, and now they have two different lives. But I don't even think they know that. Like, if I were to clone my cat and then put the clone right in front of my cat, would she even be like, hey, dude, this is my clone? No. She'd be like, this is another cat. So, well, maybe, I don't even know if monkeys do monkeys even know? Because they're the closest to us, right, in terms of intelligence, right? So does a monkey know? That, like, if I cloned a monkey and put a monkey in front of the other monkey, and I was like, dude, this is your clone. I don't even think they'd understand that. Because all the monkeys, like all the gorillas look the same, all the orangutans kind of look the same. I mean, they're all fat, and they all, like, are orange. So, I don't even think they know, but people, there can be, like, doppelgangers, like, people who look alike. But I guess, for me, I don't think anyone's ever going to look exactly like me. I feel like there's people going to be pretty close to how I look, right? Which would be crazy in and of itself. Because I've never met someone who looks like me. But, I would know that this isn't me. But if I stood in front of someone, and, that was, like, actually my clone, like, I know this is my clone, I would still think that that's a different person. I don't know. Maybe it's just in my head. I'm, like, always second-guessing myself, so I don't really, like, think about it that much. Well, like, I mean, I think about it too much, to where, it just doesn't make any sense to me anymore, so I just have to deal with the fact that, hey, yeah, this person isn't me anymore. Or this person was never me in the first place, and I'm me only. And that's true. Even if I clone myself, I'm still me. And that person is not me anymore. Even if that person thinks that they're me. But here's the thing. If I clone myself, right, and they think that the clone thinks that they're me, they also think that they're themselves, which is me. Does that make sense? So, like, if the clone's like, yeah, I'm like the exact copy of this person, so I'm that person. But if they think that they're that person, then they are their person that is that person. I don't even know if that makes sense. But even if you think your clone is yourself, now they're thinking that they're themselves. They're you, but they're actually themselves, which is you. Guys, that's what I'm trying to say. Okay, that you cannot compare the. Okay, I was talking about the clones for way too much. Back to the ship, dude. You cannot compare the ship experience to a human, because humans are so dynamic and their thinking and stuff that there is no, like, possible way ever in life that you're going to be able to that ship is going to be able to live the life as a human, right? Because let's say the ship does degrade after time, right? And the ship has a soul, has a mind. Doesn't that mean it's just dead? So where does it go after it dies, right? Like, what's the ship itself? The ship? Like, if you take all the pieces apart and you just lay them on the floor, and let's say the ship does have a conscience, and okay, for the sake of simplicity, it does not feel pain. So it's just like, dude, yeah, take me apart. So once you take it apart, does it still have consciousness? And I guess you can think about that with humans. Like, if we find a way to, like, dismember someone, but we keep them alive, right? And they're dismembered. Like, they still are thinking and breathing and, like, human beings, right? Like, as long as you have a brain, I guess, you're still thinking. So you're still alive and you're dismembered. and like all your legs are like gone, and your head, well, your head's still there, but like your arms are gone, and like you have none of your fingers, and you also don't have a torso. Are you still thinking? Yeah. So do the ships think that way too? I don't know. It's all like this is all purely hypothetical, obviously, but and it's all what's really is interesting to me, and the reason I like this so much is that it is literally all up to the like beauty is in the eye of the beholder, right? Only you know how you feel. And since this question doesn't have an actual answer, you can just go off of what you think. But then I'm thinking, like, what do I even think? Obviously, because I was thinking about it a lot. So I'm thinking, like, what do I even think about this? Like, since I already said, like, all that stuff before, like, what am I thinking? What do I think? And in the end, I don't even know what I think. And I gotta think about it even more. But I guess that's why I made this video, so I could tell you guys what I'm thinking. But, like, dude, I don't even know. I guess I'm still thinking about my clone. Like, okay. Okay, if I got dismembered, right? But I was still alive. Like for some reason, this is like magic or something, and I'm still alive and I'm dismembered, right? I come and then I get like remembered. Wait, membered. Okay, the opposite of dismembered, like put back together, but with like different body parts. Like, um, okay, so two people got dismembered and one of them was me, and then we switched like bodies, right? So like my brain was like put into this person's like body. Am I still myself? Yeah, I'm just myself with like this new body. That kind of sucks. Well, like it depends on who the person is, I guess. But I don't even think I wouldn't feel comfortable if my brain got put into someone else's body and then their body got put into mine. Like I would not feel like I'd be like, dude, get me out of here. I need to go back to my house. My house is like my body, right? That's my house. So you really can't like do ships and people. It just doesn't. Yeah, I think that just what that girl said kind of annoyed me. I don't know why, but I think she was just thinking way too deep into it, or like maybe not even enough. Because you can't like you can't humanize these objects. Like even if you want to, it'll never be like a I can't because like okay, if this video is archived right, and then like trillion years in the future, and the sun hasn't exploded, and then now like we live with robots like Detroit Become Human. I don't want to get canceled for like like telling these robots, hey, you will never be like us, because I think that the human experience can be replicated. Okay, the human experience can be replicated, but it cannot be duplicated, if that makes sense, right? Like a robot, his life, her life, their life will never be able to be like a person's life, just like a person's life is going to be like a robot's life, just because we are two totally different beings, and it's not even that one is robot and one is human. It's that we are both living totally different lives, even if we live together, even if we're experiencing the same things at the same time. We're still two totally different things, two totally different thought processes. So I'm meaning that you cannot duplicate yourself, and there is a 100% chance that you're going to be yourself again ever. Because even thinking that like even if you're not thinking about yourself, right? If you're thinking, yeah, this is only about me, right? Because like obviously they cloned me. But then your clone is thinking like, dude, I'm a clone. That sucks. Like I'm not even like what does your clone think? Does your clone think I'm not even the original? Like I'm not even the like I'm not even I'm just I'm not even myself, dude. I'm someone else, and I didn't even exist before this very like second that I was just born just now. But and then I'm getting told that hey, yeah, you're actually not even yourself. You're like a duplicate of someone else, and now you gotta live your life until you die, being like, dude, I was born But I wasn't even born. I was just made. That sucks. And I guess that's what I'm thinking about. I guess the ship thing is kind of stuck in my head because I think it's kind of selfish to compare everything to the human life, right? But I feel like you can't help it. Like you're thinking, right? And you're thinking with empathy in your head, right? And obviously that empathy is going to turn to, if I was in this situation, how would I feel? But the ships, they don't feel. They just are. But we feel, and we are. So, that's what I'm thinking about, guys. Let me know in the comments below how you feel. How do I end this thing? Slash save. Slash save. Bye, guys.